Welcome to Lagos in Nigeria for the 2019 FIBA World Cup qualifier between Rwanda and the Central African Republic. Final game for these two in the fourth qualification window, and ties don't get much bigger than this. Which team will make a big step towards qualification for the World Cup finals next year by picking up a win today? Your guess is as good as mine. These teams are very evenly matched. Things are looking very tight in this group. And it's been a very busy weekend here at the National Stadium in Lagos, Nigeria. It's hosted so far 7 games within Group F, and there's 2 more to play. We've got Rwanda, Central African Republic here before Nigeria finish things off against Senegal later this evening. And what an exciting weekend of basketball. Nigeria guaranteed their qualification for the World Cup finals yesterday. They're up to a 8-0 record now. Senegal sit in second, 7-1. Ivory Coast, after winning earlier today, have moved up to third with a 4-5 record, whilst our teams here both sit on a 3-win, 5-loss record, currently in 4th and 5th respectively. All that could change by the end of tonight, though, and this is all part of a new look qualification process and fans across the world have received with open arms. It's meant that they get to see their national teams play more often in competitive games than ever before. It's also meant that countries have never had such a huge opportunity to make it to one of the biggest stages in global basketball. Within Africa, there are 5 places at the finals up for grabs. It'll be the top 2 teams from Group E, the top 2 teams in Group F, and then whichever third place team has the best record from Group E and F will snag that final qualification spot. Crowd starting to grow here in the arena. Slowly but surely, I'm sure there'll be a huge crowd later for the Nigeria game, celebrating their qualification for the Olympics. But at the moment, Central African Republic are being introduced to the crowd. They've made it to the finals once before, but that was way back in 1974 where they finished 14th. It would be a huge coup for them to make it to the finals in China. And after a reasonably strong first qualification round, they'll be disappointed by their performance in this window. 1-point loss to Mali on Friday, and they received an absolute mauling from Nigeria yesterday. They lost that one 114 to 69. They really do need to pick a win up today to get the qualification hopes back on track. Going the entire window without a win was not part of the plan for the Central Africans. Rwanda are now being introduced, and they have a limited history on the international stage. They've only played in 6 Afro-baskets, let alone any World Cup finals. They also had a good first qualification round, entered this weekend with a 3-win, 3-loss record. And they ran Senegal close on Friday, only losing by 5. They lost by 18 to Côte d'Ivoire yesterday, so they too could leave the weekend with no wins to their name if they lose tonight. But the win here would be absolutely huge for them and keep their World Cup dreams alive. Either team lose this one and they will be hanging by a thread in the 2019 FIBA World Cup. Now we're moments away, just over 5 minutes away from tip-off here, but before that we will have the national anthems for both countries. First the Central African Republic, and then the national anthem for Rwanda. Wonderful renditions of the national anthems there as both teams get their minds fully focused on the task at hand, and that is picking up a much-needed win in these qualifiers. Teams and the players exchange gifts. A wonderful part of the international game before the battle commences. We are just now a little under 4 minutes to go until tip-off here at the National Stadium in Lagos, Nigeria. And that's our officiating crew for this evening. There are our referees who are going to keep everything in line. And they are Arnold Komnijulo, Arthur De Castro, and Rael Mustafa from Cameroon, Mozambique and Egypt, respectively. So those teams now will just be entering those final preparations and making sure that their minds are in the right place and that they're fully warmed up, ready for what is set to be a tough 40 minutes. And let's have a look at the Rwanda roster. And first up for that is a very settled one. 4 players have played all 8 qualifiers so far, including Kenny Gasana. Leads them in scoring with 15.1 points per game. And looking at the Central African roster, they've got some experienced guys who know how to produce the goods. And Destin Damashwa posted 14 points and 5 boards against Nigeria yesterday. And he's going to be supported in the front court by Kaogea, who is averaging 14.3 points and 4.3 boards across the qualification campaign so far. But these teams are full of talent, full of athleticism, full of ability. It's just how quickly can they gel as a team, and how much impact will the pressure that's being applied to them affect their performance. So much pride on the line for both teams. For Rwanda, it would be a first ever trip to the World Cup finals, and for the Central African Republic, it would be a first trip in 40 years to the World Cup finals. So these two teams really would love to make it all the way there. And Coach Merida would love to be able to be that coach, one who can make history and break the 40-year drought of World Cup finals basketball for the Central Africans. As they complete a final team warm-up. At the other end, you've got Coach Bosniak. He'll know exactly how important today's game is. I'm sure they've worked exceptionally hard with his guys on getting prepared for today's game, both physically and mentally. They need to be able to deal with the pressures and understand the situation, the importance of the game, and apply that and utilise that to their advantage rather than being a disadvantage. And remember, plenty going on around the world on international basketball in this new look World Cup qualification process. So with that in mind, you need to stay up to date. Best way to stay up to date with all of the news and views and all the latest highlights from around the world is with the official FIBA World Cup app. Really easy. You just go onto iOS or Android or wherever else you get your apps from, and you will find the FIBA World Cup app, and you can stay fully up to date with it. Make sure you download that today. Also, if you're going to share some of the basketball love on social media around these World Cup qualifiers, make sure you use the hashtag #ThisIsMyHouse. Let's get that trending across the world on social media as international basketball takes centre stage. Shaking hands with the officials.
At number 12, Deshaun Kennett. At number 13, Kanye Ellie. At number 13, Kanye Arden.
Just waiting for the Central Africans to make their way to the floor before we can get this underway. Just moments away from tip-off here, and this National Stadium has seen some great basketball over the last 3 days. 2 more games to go before this qualification window shuts down, and all eyes will turn to February after that. Looks like Jondre Jefferson will go up for the tip against Kaye. Here we go then in Lagos for the tip for the 2019 FIBA World Cup qualifiers between Rwanda and the Central African Republic. So much at stake for both these teams. Their dreams of making it to the World Cup finals are on the line. Jump ball's going to be called, so it'll be a it'll be a Rwandan ball on the sideline there, as Mugabe was wrapped up. Kaye now. Moves it back to Gasana. Gasana uses Kabang for the screen, but moves the ball round to Manzi instead. Nice jump shot to start things, and that's a great way to get things underway for Eli Kaye. He's a 23-year-old, 9.9 points per game. It's a good start. Jefferson now with the ball. Backdoor pass goes inside. Nice swing around pass. Can he get it to go? Yes, he can. And Jimrabe gets off nice and early. Kaye now hands it off to Manzi. Ball goes back inside, and Kaye can't get it to go, but it's another great play from... it was Kabang who couldn't get it to go, and Kaye with the rebound. Long pass now out to Jefferson, fakes the shot, hands it over to Damashwar instead, and the foul's going to be called as Kaye hits the deck. Rabi's going to be called for the first foul of the game. Reasonably cagey start, this first 90 seconds of action. Neither team imposing themselves fully on the game. Couple of mistakes so far. Kaye now with the ball, looks for the backdoor pass to Gasana. Ball's up for the long jumper and is fouled. Looks like it's going to be Jimrabe called for a second foul. Sure, that'll send him to the bench. Kenny Gasana's going to go to the line. Let's have a look here, a replay of the foul. Yeah, Jimrabe stepped a little bit too far forward. It's always difficult. An awful lot of players flick their legs or feet forward in their shooting motions, trying to draw the contact, but you have to be aware and you have to adjust based on the player you're defending. And I'm not sure they'll have many nails left by the end of the night. Coach Vladimir Bosniak, Serbian 52-year-old. Most of his coaching has been around the Middle East, and I'm sure it's an absolute honour for him to be the head coach of Rwanda in this qualification process. Gasana can't get the second to go, and Central Africans will come away with it. Nice pass now, beautiful handoff by Jefferson, but it's swiped away. He'll grab the loose ball though, and he grabs a second loose ball, goes up strong, and it's a real battle in the paint early on, and once again, it's that man Kaye who comes away with the rebound and is quick to hand it off. It's a bit heavy off the glass there. From Grabongo, he couldn't have a light enough touch, but this time it's Calgare from outside. And that's a way to open your account. And that gives the Central Africans an early 2-point lead. Lovely form and follow through on the shot. Nice set feet. Makes it easier to hit those jumpers from range. Manzi being harassed there by Calgare. Calgare is working hard on both ends of the floor. Manzi again. Feeds with a low post this time into Kabang. He pulls away for the jumper. No joy in Damashware has his rebound knocked away from him. Sanji loses the handle, but the loose ball is picked up by Grabongo, and he gets the two. A very scrappy start to the game here. An awful lot of battles in the paint going on so far. waiting for a shoelace to be tied. Seven minutes to play in this first quarter, and Mugabe hands the ball to Gasana on the wing. He's being guarded closely by Kasanji. Not closely enough though, and he's manages to get a shot away but can't get it to go, and the rebound is won by Jefferson, who hands it on to Calguel, and he tries to pass it away, but Gasani intercepts it out on a 3-on-1 break now. Gasani feeds it back, and it's a nice easy finger roll for Kami Kabang. Brings it down to just a 2-point lead for the Central Africans now. Pass to the corner to Jefferson. Mid-range 2, but couldn't get it to go, and the rebounding battle in that instance is won by Kaye. I think they just want to add a couple of seconds on to the shot clock. I think it started a little bit too soon. Yeah, they've reset it back up to 22 seconds because that's when the possession was established, and that's when the shot clock should start, not when the first touch, but when you consider a player to have possession. Gasana now to Sagamba. He's coming for Mugabe. Kaye now hands it back to Gasana. Nice movement here from Rwanda. Not a great move from Gasana though. He's had a great qualification so far. He's averaging 15.1 points and 4.8 boards along with 3 assists per game. He's leading them in scoring. A big game on Friday against Senegal. 19 points, 5 rebounds and 4 assists. He'll be hoping to repeat that today. Rabongo now feeds to the low post it to Jefferson. Jefferson looking for some cuts, but nothing there in front of him, and 5-second violation is going to be called on him. He's not taken a dribble or moved. He was being defended. I'm not sure he was even aware of the rule. Very rarely called in American basketball, and that's where Jefferson's applied most of his trade. Born in South Carolina and naturalised Central African. And Manzi now goes into the corner to Sagamba. Kabang sets the pick and roll with him. Sagamba hands it off to Kaye, and Kaye drains it too, and you have a feeling that Rwanda are starting to grow in confidence. They're starting to feel a bit of form, and that you could see by the coach, the face of Coach Moreda there for the Central Africans, that he's probably a little bit worried if they find a bit of form and if they get a hot hand. Kasenji now to Jefferson. Jefferson going up against Kaye. Looks to feed it inside to Calguier. Can't get it to go, but that's a great follow from Kasanji to get the putback off the glass. That gives the Central African Republic their lead back. Manzi now. Offensive foul is going to be called, and legal screen off the ball. I think that one's on Kami Kabang. And this is the follow through on the rebound, and that's great play by Kasanji, just watching and following the play and reading the rebound well. No boxing out though, no weak side rotation. Rwandans not stepping in to help out. Rabongo for 3, drains the 3. Big shot from Johan Rabongo, shooting 36% from the perimeter in the qualifiers. He's definitely a man that knows how to shoot from range. Sagamba struggling with the pressure being applied to him. Gets it back though as he drives to the basket. Tough move by Sagamba, went in against Jefferson. Manages to get it to go. Sagamba's 188 tall and Jefferson's 207, almost giving up 20 centimetres against him, but still scores. Nice play. Kasanji now, nice pass inside and a two-handed flush for Jefferson. Beautiful two-man game there for the Central Africans. Sana now using a double screen at the top, and Kabang floats to the basket, but the ball's rotated back round to the weak side, and Manzi will take what is a very difficult fade away. Jefferson now the big man looking to get on the point guard flavor, and can't get it to go though as he passes it off to Grabongo, and it's too heavy off the glass, and Rwanda will clean that one up. It's into the low post, but the foul has been called. That one's going to be on, not sure, I think it's on Calgary. Here's the nice two-handed flush from Jefferson, and all credit really does have to go to William Kasanji for the assist. He's averaging 2.4 assists per game in the qualifiers. This is Jefferson's 6th game for the Central African Republic. He's averaging just under double digits scoring and just under 7 rebounds per game. Tammy Kabang. Nice fake. Oh, I should have made that. Did all the hard work with the fake. Beautiful pass. Rotated back out. Jefferson can't quite hold on to it, but he'll keep it in play. Calgary recycles it back out to Yannick Zaki, who's into the game. Jefferson can't quite hold on to it. So Gambon out for Gasane. A little bit too high on the pass, and then it's compounded by poor control from Kami Kabang. Good vision, just a little bit too heavy on the pass, and the ball slips out of Kabang's hands. That'll be a turnover, and the Central Africans will get the ball back. Kagia now with the ball, comes back to Danishware, hands it off to Grabongo, nice pass inside to Zimbini, goes to the corner to Kagia, off target with that one. Yakinen hands it off. Quite patient from both teams on the offensive end. They're not looking to rush things, but they'll have to now. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Osani hands it off and floats inside. Lucky to not have an offensive foul called on him there. Vagigwai is the man who missed that one. As Central Africans slow things down. Crossover there from Zaki opens up some space, but he can't make the most of it, and Rwanda will scoop up the defensive rebound. Reasonably low scoring first quarter here in Lagos as nerves play their part. And Daise now looking to go inside, almost loses the handle. Hands it off to Wabigwai. That's a tough move from the big man. Wabigwai gets his first 2 of the game, only playing in his first qualification window here this weekend, averaging 4.5 points a game. The young centre really has got a lot to give for Rwanda, a lot of development opportunity for him as well. He could be part of this roster for years to come. Grabonga now floats inside, beautiful little right-handed hook to get that in, just floats it high. And that takes the Central Africans out to a 5-point lead as we're into the final minute of the first quarter. Gasana. And the Central African defense really has ramped up a few gears now. Nice fake, drives the baseline. Can he scoop it in? Yes, he can. He's come to play. Jean-Paul Wabigwai is in the points today. He's up to 4 points personal. Only been on the court a little over 2 minutes. About a 2.5, 3 second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. So Rwanda may get another bite at the cherry before the end of the first quarter. But at the moment, Yannick Zaki slowing things down for the Central Africans. Goes inside, kicks it out. Grabongo won't take it, tries to step his way round, but the shot clock's going to run out. The game clock's gone as well, but by rights that shouldn't be the case. Soon as the shot clock buzzer goes, it should stop the game clock because that's the violation. There should be more than 0.6 seconds. They're not going to reset it though. And that's the end of the first quarter here in Lagos at the National Stadium. 10 minutes down, 30 minutes to go. Rwanda 13, Central African Republic 16. Bit of a cagey start from both of these teams. No one taking control so far. Leading all scorers is Yohan Grabongo, though. He's got 7 points, and leading things for Rwanda is Ndazai and Kaji with 4 points apiece. Welcome back to the National Stadium here in Lagos. Plenty of action ahead of us here in this one. Rwanda 13, Central African Republic 16 at the end of the first quarter. And Rwanda yet to attempt a 3-point. I think that's the first time I've seen that in these qualifiers, whilst the Central African Republic are 2 from 2 from the perimeter. And they are up by 3 points. That pretty much might be the statistic that dictates the score at the moment. A cagey first quarter. Central African Republic started well. Rwanda chipped away at them and came back into it. And then the Central African Republic have just been able to open a narrow lead towards the end of that first quarter. Rebounding battle is pretty even. 10 rebounds for the Central Africans to 7 for the Rwandans. And at the moment, not a huge amount of difference between the two, and the score says the same. We've had 3 lead changes in that first quarter, and this group in the African region, Group F, really is nail-bitingly close. And one of these teams could make it all the way to the World Cup finals. At the moment, Nigeria and Tunisia have qualified from Africa. Senegal are 1 win away from qualifying in Africa. Cameroon are 2 wins away from qualifying in Africa. With 1 more spot up for grabs outside of that. So much to play for these teams. But we're back in Lagos for the second quarter of action at the National Stadium. Rwanda 13, Central African Republic 16 in this 2019 FIBA World Cup qualifier. Grabongo now. Almost stolen away, but Kagia holds on to it, shoots the 3. Had to put it up as the shot clock was running down, but didn't manage to do anything with it. Ball's almost knocked away, and Sagamba can just about hold on to it. He looks a very frenetic player. Sometimes you do wonder if he's in control of the ball or the ball's in control of him. He's had it knocked away there and holds on to it, but once again it's knocked away. Ball is inbounded by Sagamba now. And he'll take the long jumper and puts up an air ball, which the Central Africans will scoop up. Galgea now looks to feed Zainvini in the post, and he's travelled. He's just juddered that pivot foot. Nice easy call for the officials. To say he's a veteran's an understatement. 38 years old. This is his 6th qualification game. Plies his trade in France for La Cannes. It's going to be a Rwandan ball on the baseline as Galgea goes to the bench, as does Damashwa. And Vegshada comes into the game for the first time. And Isaiah with the ball, almost has it knocked away. He does this time, and out of the races Zion Vini with a 2-handed jam. Great defense by the big man, opens up the scoring opportunity, and he gets his points on the board. It's his first score of the game. Foul is called. We'll wait to see who that one's called on. I think it's on Zion Vini off the ball. Let's have a look and see. This is a replay of the steal by Zion Vini and the breakaway 2-handed flush. As Ndazi couldn't hold on to it. Kaye. Oh, nice pivot. Opens up the lane, but loses the handle and knocks it out of bounds. So it's going to be a Central African ball. It's a beautiful pivot. He just opened the lane up for him, but just couldn't quite keep the handle. And Yannick Zaki now. Grabongo. Zion Vinny. Nice quick ball movement. Grabongo from the corner. Too heavy with that one, and Sane with the ball, and it's quickly moved forward. Oh, and that's another great play. Rabigwai comes away with another two, and he rightfully got a smile on his face. He's up to 6 points personal. He's leading Rwanda in scoring, and the Central African lead is at 3. Oh, lost his footing there. Grabongo slips on the floor, and Rwanda will capitalise on the unfortunate situation for the Central Africans. Gasana now can find some space, puts it to the corner, gets it back, open for 3. Too much on that one, and Grabongo gets away with falling asleep on the defensive end there. Kasanji back to Grabongo, pulls up. That's great defense by Rawabigwi, and that will come away to a Rwandan ball. 3 minutes almost gone here in the second quarter, and he just makes a stand. It's good, straight up, exactly what you teach young players, how to play defense. Rawabigwi there just with some strong defense, and there's no way around it. If a big man just goes straight up, arms straight up, you're going to have to go over the top of him, and it's highly unlikely. Double screen set at the top to squeeze the defender out of the way, but unfortunately, Ndaizi is just thrown another air ball up. The shooting so far in this game has not been where it should be. Rwanda are 0 for 3. Central African Republic are 2 from 4, so not bad for them. Rwanda will need to improve their perimeter shooting if they want to come away with a win. Manzi's going to come back into the game for Rwanda. And for the Central African Republic, Zion Vinny will go to the bench. And Big Shader now with the ball. Long shot. He's come up short though. Calgiera is trying to deal with the offensive rebound, but can't get it. He's going to pile up the free throw line for the jumper. Gets it to go. Rabigwai is having the game of the qualifiers for him. He's only averaging 4.5 points per game so far this weekend, and today he's already up to 8. We're only just under 14 minutes into the game. Feeling the hot hand, you see the confidence, pulls up for a long 2. Oh, that one doesn't go. That might have been a bit of a heat check for him. Big Shader now lays it across to Zaki, can't get it to go, and a little bit more fluid open basketball's happening in front of us. That shot's no good for Nkuruzizi, and Rawabigwai grabs the rebound, hands it back, but it's a little bit of pit-pat at the moment as no one can control the ball. Kasanji will for the Central Africans, and Zaki will bring it up over the half. Bit scrappy at the moment, bit too free-flowing here in Lagos. Into the low post, good ball movement as they move it to the weak side. Once again, there's no joy from the perimeter. Rawabigwai will come down with the rebound, and he'll hand it off to Mugabe. Travelling violation there for Rabigwai. Still got a smile on his face. He'll be happy with how his game's gone so far. And a timeout is going to be called, I think, by the Central African Republic. About 5 minutes left here in this first half. Rwanda 17, Central African Republic 18. You see the frustration from the coach. My goodness me, wearing your heart on your sleeve there. Coach Bosniak not impressed, and he wants to talk things over with his team. I think we'll try and jump into the huddles to see exactly what's going on.
mindset. No! Here, man, look at how strong you are. I would be strong like you. I would make millions on the movies. Just make this strong. Go make offensive foul. Hit him. So next time he will not wait for you, okay?
Les gars, on repart en 5. Il faudrait que le ballon arrive ici, là. Le ballon doit arriver à l'intérieur. Tant que le pivot ne reçoit pas la balle à l'intérieur, vous prenez seulement votre temps, shootez ici, là, les gars. On joue 5. On joue 5. Posez l'écran sur comment il s'appelle, Jefferson. Ok, si le ballon c'est à l'opposé, Jefferson va maintenant sortir pour prendre la balle. On retourne dans 5. Ok les gars, on est posé, circuler la balle. Et quand on perd la balle, rentrez vite en défense.
On a 4 fautes. 4 fautes.
Well, they're two contrasting coaching styles on either bench there. Coach Bosniak absolutely screaming. The passion is clear. You can see the sweat on his brow already. This means so much to him. He may not be Rwandan by nationality, but the Serbian surely is showing how much he wants this and how badly he wants to make it to the World Cup finals. On the other end of the court, Coach Merida, no doubt he's just as passionate. He wants the same thing for his team. But in a calm way, he delivers his message to his players. And I suppose the proof is in the pudding. How do the players respond to those timeouts? 5 minutes left now in the second quarter, and that's a smart move by Vekshado. He couldn't get it to go, and Jimrabi tries to get a follow-up, but he misses as well. Mugabe now with the ball at the top. Looks to feed it into the high post, a little bit wayward with the pass. However, they are going to find Mkuran Ziza as he slashes across the middle of the lane and then darts to the basket. He's fouled, so he'll get himself to the line, and that foul I think is going to be called on Jim Rabe. I think that's his third foul. He's probably going to go straight back to the bench again, and that is a big problem for the Central African Republic. He's an important member of the team. Let's have a look here as Mkuran Ziza slides to the basket. He is fouled by Jim Rabe. His first points on the board for him, but also more importantly, that ties the game up 18 apiece between these two now. Misses the second, but the rebound is pulled in by Kaye. Oh, nice interior pass to Manzi, but it's stripped away by Jim Rabe. And a foul is probably going to be called on Manzi. Oh, no, it isn't. We'll have to see what it is. I presume maybe it's a travelling violation. Let's have a quick look here on the replay. Lovely interior pass, but it's stripped away. And yeah, I think they're giving a travelling violation. He was on his knees and then stood back up again. That's going to see another timeout be called. A little over 30 seconds since the last timeout. And again, the coaches will get their chance to talk to their teams and try and clarify a few points. Let's see if Coach Bosniak's slightly calmer this time.
Here is Mikaj, and here is Dan. Dan, you get a pick, you go immediately here. Then go on the other side. Follow Kimaristic. Walter, you're coming here. So we have Kami make a pick for Kaj. Kami, get open up. Get open up. So he gets up. Okay, in defense. Walter, Aristide, don't help. Let's try 30 seconds to do that.
Looks like the roles are reversed in those timeouts with Coach Bosniak a lot cooler and calmer, and the coaching staff for the Central African Republic a little bit more animated. But it does show that things can change so quickly in international basketball. We're tied 18 to Rwanda, 18 to Central African Republic. 4:27 left in this second quarter. Mugabe now. He's going to inbound it, but I think the foul's going to be called first. Yeah, I think that one's going to be called on Kagier. Kagier, yep, he's called for the foul. And Rwanda get the ball in. Nice crossover. Nice pass back. Is he going to get the roll? Yes, he is. Kami Kabang for the jumper. And Rwanda take the lead. 4 points to Kabang so far. Kagier now with the ball, and he's almost thrown it away. Jimrabe manages to secure the loose ball though and pulls up for the long two off the glass, and the bank is open for Jimrabe. Double screen up the top again for Mugabe, and this time he hands it off to Kabang, and another 2 points for him. He's up to 6 points, back-to-back buckets for Kami Kabang, and Rwanda back out to their 2 point lead. Big Shader has it stripped away. Good defense by Rwanda. Rwanda yet to foul in this quarter. There's discipline on the defensive end there. Kaye not able to make the jumper connect, and we saw the animation there of Max Calgair. He's screamed at Vegshada to slow it down. It's obviously the plan for the Central Africans, that a slightly more structured and considerate offense is going to work for them. And here's Jefferson now. He wants to isolate out and go one-on-one. And Jimrabe is having a battle with Eli Kaye, and I think Kaye is going to be called for the foul. Let's have a look now. Jefferson backing out to go up against Kabang. But off camera, the two big men are having a tussle in the paint. So the foul's going to be called. I think you'll see it better here. Jimrabe leans in, and for me, that's either no foul or a double foul. I couldn't quite see how you could pick a side on that one, but it's the first foul in Kaye. He's had a pretty strong evening so far. 4.6 rebounds for him, 50% from the floor. Demeshwa now, and another foul is going to be called. This time it's going to be called on Nakura Nziza. As Calgair looks to mix things up. Leaning in on him, and calling it tight, the officials this evening. First foul on him. And Rwanda had no fouls about 10 seconds ago, and now they've picked up 2 team fouls here in the closing stages of this second quarter. Kasanji now goes to Jefferson. Jefferson passes it off to Damashware, and he drains the 3. Testing Damashware from deep. And that gives the Central African Republic the lead here in Lagos. Kasana now. Kaye goes back to Kabang. Kabang fades away. Right hand hook. Beautiful touch from the big man. A lovely soft hook shot there. And Jefferson's going to go to work. Floats off the glass. Can't get it to go though. And it's literally that wonderful pivot move. It gets you open. It gives you the space to put your first step forward, and able to draw the foul against Kabang, and he'll get himself to the line for 2 shots. He's not shot well so far in qualifiers though, Jandre Jefferson, only 45% from the line. Interesting kind of history in his professional career. He's a 3 times the basketball tournament champion. If you're not aware of that, it's the multi-million-dollar tournament that's hosted every summer, where former pros or college graduates create teams together, and it's a winner-take-all affair. And the teams he's been on, he's won it 3 times, won it in 15, in 16, and in 2017. Connects with just one of his 2 free throws from the line, and we're all tied at 24 apiece as we enter the final 2 minutes of this first half. Kusana now to Manzi. Manzi now to Shiaka for 3. Ah, big shot from Shiaka. He has been shooting very well from the perimeter, over 40% through the qualifiers. Another foul, I think, is going to be called off the ball, and the battles just continue. And this time it's going to be called on Shiaka. So the Central African Republic are going to hold on to the ball. Let's have a look. Again, I think this one's off camera. Might see it this time. Yeah, he's got his hands in there. He's not holding in with the arm bar. He's using his hands to try and hold him. Good call by the officials, and here's Damashwe. It's another three. We're really starting to warm up here in Lagos. Frustrating that the half-time break is going to stop the momentum that we're building here. Both teams starting to warm up and the offense starting to increase. Gasana now almost stolen away by Damashwe, but only able to knock it out of bounds. Timeout has been called. Both teams want to talk things over. A little over a minute to play here in the first half. And the crowds are starting to grow. We're obviously in a neutral venue for these two teams. We're in Lagos at the National Stadium in Nigeria. And these fans are starting to come in now, as they know Nigeria will be playing after this one. But let's jump into the huddle and listen to Coach Bosniak talk to his Rwandan players.
Help on the pick and roll. 16 is good. So Adonis, go, and if you need to switch, better to switch, then this happens. And you, if you need to make a foul, then guy will make it. But he makes it, no, this is good. Okay.
Let's go, guys, let's go.
Please go sur le côté.
As we come back onto the floor for the closing seconds of this first half, it's going to be a Rwandan ball on the sideline. And before the game, we talked about how close this was on paper. It turns out it's just as close on the hardwood. 27 to Rwanda, 27 to the Central African Republic. A minute to play. Only 10 seconds on the shot clock, though. That one's inbounded to Manzi. Manzi will pull up for the long two. Slightly off target with that one, and the Central African Republic will come away with the ball. Damashwe now hands it off to Jim Rabe, who quickly hands it back to him. Damashwe trying to find a lane inside, and he kicks it back out wide open to Kasanji, but Damashwe will shoot the three. In and out. Can Jim Rabe keep it in? He can. That's good hustle. Waiting to see what the call is. I think there's another foul off the ball as Dan Manzi is called for the foul, and that will send the Central African Republic to the line. Let's have a look. It was way off the ball. Couldn't quite see what happened from those angles. But the foul has been called. It should be a shooting foul, I think. And the clock at the moment is running for some reason. Down to 27.5 seconds. Once they've got the clock sorted, we should be good to go. The foul was on Manzi for pushing Jim Rabe as he went after the ball. Yeah, you can see Jim Rabe saying, I was shoved in the back. 32.5 seconds has now been put onto the clock. And it's going to be a baseline ball for Central African Republic, but they've straight away thrown it away. There's about a 6-7 differential, 6 second differential between game clock and shot clock. Gasana now. So Central African Republic will get the ball back before the half-time break. And it would be a psychological advantage for the team that can lead this into the half-time locker room. Gasana now. Hesitation, brings out Jim Rabe, tries to draw the foul, can't get it to go. Amazingly manages to even scrape the rim, and now Central Africans are out of the races. Damashwe to Jim Rabe, but it's going to fall out of bounds. I'm not sure. There should still be time on the clock. They didn't stop it in time. Even though the whistle went, I'm not sure if that's going to be the half-time break. Looks like it is. That's all we're going to have here for the first half of action between Rwanda and the Central African Republic, and we are all tied up in a low-scoring affair. Rwanda 27, Central African Republic 27. And that's 20 minutes of action under our belts. 20 minutes to go in what is a low-scoring, cagey, slightly nervous affair, but it's understandable. So much on the line for both of these teams. Here's some of your statistics. Great shooting from the perimeter from the Central African Republic and great shooting inside from Rwanda. Both of them above 40% on that. Rebounding battle is pretty even at the moment. The only difference being 4 offensive rebounds for the Central Africans. Turnovers slightly high, but nothing too concerning for either team there. And the statistics kind of tell you or indicate that it would be a close game on the score, and it certainly is. 27 apiece here in Lagos at the National Stadium between the Central African Republic and Rwanda. And it's been a close back and forth game throughout. No one taking a considerable lead at any stage. Biggest lead has been 5, and that was for the Central African Republic in the first quarter. But it really has been a cagey affair. Not a great offensive display, but both teams putting a huge amount of passion and pride onto the hardwood to win for their countries. And you imagine it's going to be a similar affair in the second 20 minutes. And both teams have tried to work hard in the paint to get the easy scores, and Central African Republic have had a little bit more success from the perimeter than their Rwandan counterparts. But here at the National Stadium in Lagos, we've seen 2 quarters of action already pass us by in this final day here in Group F. And we've got 2 more quarters ahead of us. But at the half-time score between Rwanda and the Central African Republic is we are all tied at 27 points apiece. 2 more quarters ahead of us. Make sure you stay with us for all this international basketball action. Well, welcome back to Lagos in Nigeria for the huge World Cup qualifier between Rwanda and the Central African Republic. We are 2 quarters down, 2 quarters to go. And there is not a sheet of paper that could get between these two teams. 27 to Rwanda, 27 to the Central African Republic. A low-scoring, cagey, nervous affair here in the National Stadium in Lagos. Understandably so, though. Hopes and dreams for World Cup glory for both these teams hangs in the balance as it stands. Nigeria booked their spot at the World Cup finals yesterday. Senegal could book a spot later today if they beat Nigeria, which would leave it a tough task for both of these teams, but still a opportunity is alive for these teams to make it through to the World Cup finals. However, every game is now almost like a final in itself. They need to win every game to put themselves in with a good chance. Earlier today, this group saw the Côte d'Ivoire beat Mali. That moves them to a 4-5 record. Mali dropped to a 3-6 record. And whoever wins the game here today will also move to a 4-5 record as well, and will jump back into third place. So 20 minutes of action ahead of us here in Lagos. Having a look at some of the leaders. Ravigwai with 8 points, and Kaban with 8 points are the leaders for Rwanda, whilst Grabongo with 7 points leads the scoring for the Central African Republic. That man there, Coach Bosniak, you can see the back of his head, has had a interesting first half himself. Certainly a coach who wears his heart on his sleeve and puts every ounce of passion and pride into the game that he can. And that's been evident. A more considered approach from Coach Marida at the other end, although he did seem to get a little bit animated towards the end of the first half as the pressure starts to pile on not just the players but the coaching staff as well. The Central African Republic, it would be a first trip to the World Cup finals in over 40 years. For Rwanda, it would be the first trip to the World Cup finals ever. And they're the kind of stakes that are on the table for both these teams here in Nigeria across this weekend. And this is the last day. This is game 2 out of 3 on the last day of this window before qualification window shuts down, before we come back in February. The destination to be decided, but there'll be 3 more games in February for both of these teams. Just waiting for the starting fives of both teams to make it onto the floor so we can get underway. Kasana, Kabang, Manzi, Sagambe are in for Rwanda. Damasho, Jimrabi, Grabongo, Jefferson and Kasanji are in for the Central African Republic. And here we are underway in the second half at the National Stadium in Lagos, as Rwanda get us underway in what has been a cagey game so far. Manzi now with the ball for Rwanda. Kabang sets the screen for him. Comes back to Kaye. Kaye goes inside, trying to find any chink of light to get through, and he couldn't manage it, but they're going to hustle the offensive rebound as well, and Central African Republic are going to do well to get it over the half before the 8 seconds, and that's a heads-up play there to get it over the half. Jefferson now hands it off to Jimrabe. A little bit too much weight on that one, and Kaye will grab the rebound. That's his 7th rebound of the game so far. He has had an impressive game. Ali Kaye. Manzi now. Good defense by the Central Africans. They really are getting in the passing lanes. Sagamba gets it back to Manzi. Manzi's a little bit off track, and it's off Kaye's hand, so it's going to be a Central African ball on the baseline. Damashware now bring that up over the half for Central African Republic. Sanji, Jimrabe, very patient, nice backdoor cut by Damashware, couldn't quite get it to go, and Sagamba's left on the floor, as is Damashware when he hits the jumper. And that's the first score of the second half. It's taken us almost 90 seconds, but the Central African Republic are the first to get on the board, and almost a quick reply there from Gasana, but no joy, and it's out at the races to Jefferson, but Gasana's managed to get back on transition defense and gets a hand into the passing lane, and he's done well there. Otherwise that would have been a huge dunk from Jefferson. Aguirre now with the ball, and it's come off Sagamba's hand, so it's going to stay with the Central Africans. Such a critical phase of the game for both these teams now. They can't afford to let either get away from them. Kasanji now goes to Jimirabe in the corner. Back to Kasanji to Jimirabe. Looking to find some lanes to get to the basket. That's a tough move. Can't get it to go, and the whistle's been blown, and Kabang is going to be called for the foul. Always funny, he looks in horror at the referee, and yeah, he's cleared him out as Jefferson's tried to come across. Let's have a look at this angle if we see it. Yeah, steps across him and puts his elbow into him. Right in front of the officials. Damashware now. To Kuger. Too much. Oh, but he flies through with the putback jam. Perfect timing from William Kasanji. It's going to stay a Rwandan ball, but they have been all over Sagamba all night. They must see him as maybe a weak link on the point guard position. The pressure they're applying. Here's a replay of the big put-back jam by Kasanji. Just perfect timing. Flies up and just swats the ball through the iron. Oh, nice step back by Sagamba. He's got to take the jumper. Hits the three. That was James Harden-esque, the way he stepped back on that one. Kuger floats inside, and he's fouled, I think, by Manzi on his way to the basket, so he'll earn himself a trip to the line. Connects with the first of his 2 attempts, and that's his 4th point, and opens up a 2-point lead for the Central African Republic. Just about 3 minutes gone here in the 3rd quarter, and the game is carrying on in similar fashion. Quite a physical affair, which is, I think, part of the reason it's such a low-scoring game. And the players are trying to grind the buckets out from each other. Gasana behind the back now. Into the hands of Kabang, but he gives it up to Kugera, and it's back to Kugera, and he loses the handle. Another scrappy phase, but Kabang comes away with it. Almost looked like a travel there. Gasana throws it up. Kaye can't get the easy 2 off the glass, and really is a scrappy point of the game right now. And you have a feeling if one of the teams could just grab hold of the game and control it, it might be the make or break moment. Back into the game comes Rabagigwai, and he's had a strong start to the game so far. 8 points, 3 boards in just under 9 minutes so far for him. Jimirabe for 3. No joy from downtown for him. Sagamba now brings it up over the half to Manzi. Manzi looking for options in front of him. There's nothing here so far. Wabigwai is setting up in the low post, and Jefferson makes sure he doesn't get it too close to the basket. Jumps inside, and the foul's going to be called. Have to wait to see where the foul is. Is it on Jefferson, or is it going to be on Damashware? Jefferson's pushed away, and Damashware's fallen onto the ground when Wabigwai gets to the middle. 6 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Damashware called for the first foul there. Wabigwai will go to the line for 2 shots. Great first shot, and from what we've seen here today, there's a bright future ahead for this young big man. Plenty of development still needed, but he seems to have the building blocks in place to become a very impressive front court player. Potential star for many years to come for Rwanda. Kugwera now with the ball. Comes back to Ziamvini. Nice little body shake and it opens up. Kugwera now with the ball, floats inside, right hand, throws it up, draws the foul. Never really going to get an open shooting opportunity going in there. Just have to wait to see who the foul's on. It looks like it might be on Kaye. Let's have a look as he slides to the basket. Not too sure. Looks like you might be able to take your pick. Manzi's called, I think, for the foul. Will go to the line for 2 shots. 5 points so far. Not been that successful from the field though. Only 1 from 6 shooting from the field. Getting his points from the free throw line. And there's another one to his tally. And the second as well. He gets the roll of the friendly ring. The Central African Republic are out to a 3-point lead now. Sagamba completely loses the handle. He really has had a treacherous evening so far, and that's great play. I think the Central Africans got away with one there. That pretty much looked like it came off Kugwera. Let's have a look now. Yeah, absolutely did. And they've changed the decision, rightfully so. And that's why there is an officiating team and not just one official working together to get the right decision. 5.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter in the National Stadium in Lagos, and Rwanda trail the Central African Republic 32-35. And they've made a change at the point guard position as Mugabe comes back into the game for Rwanda. Into Shiyaka. Shiyaka's going to back his way to the basket. That's a strong move. And he gets his just rewards for a nice textbook post move. Bugatti now with the ball. Oh, nice backdoor cut by Jim Rabe. Shiyaka's been left in his wake, and it's taken Ziamvini to grab another offensive rebound and recycle it back to the top. Shot clock to 3. Kugwera can't get it to go, and this time Shiyaka does get the rebound for Rwanda. And they have the opportunity to take the lead now. Gasana with the ball. Not had his usual evening, only 1 point, yet score from the field, but that's a nice big shot from outside. Shiyaka's had some big plays in the last minute or so, and that gives Rwanda a 2-point lead. Damashwe hands it off, and an easy basket by Ziamvini, and this is what the game has missed. No real tempo, no up and down about it, and if there have been, it's been almost breakneck speed, that it's not under control. Oh, that's a poor pass by Mugabe, easily intercepted by Damashwe, and he wants to keep the energy nice and high. He's going to shoot the 3 from range. No joy, and Kaye will grab the rebound for Rwanda. Gasana now loses his footing, manages to hold on to the ball. Oh, what a pass inside! Shiyaka will get the 2 from the ground. Gasana gets himself an assist, and Shiyaka's up to double-digit scoring. He's only been on the court 7.5 minutes. Let's watch it again. Loses his footing, grabs hold of the loose ball, and still has the wherewithal to find the man inside. And Shiyaka is the grateful recipient of the pass. Little fake and up for 2. Great heads-up play there by Gasana. Adds another assist to his numbers. He's up to 4 assists. Might not have many points, but he's making sure that others do. Damashwe now. Ziamvini sets the screen and gets the pass. Oh, nice spin move. Hands it inside to Jim Rabe. And he gets it to go just before the shot clock expires. Tough play by the tough man. Sana now looking for the roll, and the roll wasn't there, but a nice read by Zion Vinny, but an even better read by Mugabe. I think the officials need to clarify something. I think it's around the shot clock. I think they're saying, did the Central African Republic maybe have control of the ball? Therefore, it should reset to 24 if they did. The officials are just discussing it at the moment to clarify the situation. I think they're saying the shot clock should be at 20. But while the officials get a bit more time to sort that out, a timeout has been called by Rwanda. Coach Bosniak wants to talk things over with his players. We're tied at 39 apiece. No one can separate these two. Just under 3 minutes to play here in the third quarter of this World Cup qualifier between Rwanda and the Central African Republic. And it might not be the prettiest of games, but it is a battle. Let's jump into the timeouts and listen to the coaches.
Here, Kaj is passing to Aristide. Aristide get a screen Aristide get a screen for this guy from Adonis. Then Adonis go down, Cash go down, Kenny gets the side here. Okay, so we.
On envoie la balle pour courir. D'accord, dessin. Dès que tu l'as, tu dégages. Ok les gars. On y va. On gagne les ballons, mais on les perd vite les gars.
Poser, circuler, ordonner l'attaque. Tourner la balle au maximum, ordonner l'attaque les gars. Prenez les shoots dans de bonnes conditions. Ok, dans de bonnes conditions.
On essaie de faire des séries. D'accord. Essaie de faire des séries. D'accord.
Some of the Central Africans having ice packs, trying to just cool them down and get a little bit of recovery during that timeout. Certainly a hot and intense environment here in Lagos for them to perform in what is potentially, for some of them, one of the biggest games in their careers. This qualification campaign will be one of the biggest qualification campaigns they'll participate in. A huge opportunity to make it to the world's biggest stages. Just under 3 minutes to play in the third quarter, tied at 39 apiece. Gasana will inbound the ball for Rwanda, almost stolen away, but he manages to hold on to the inbound. Mugabe now to Wabigwai. He goes in high, a little bit too heavy-handed, and to get it will get the rebound for the Central Africans. There's just a bit of sweat on the ball. They're going to swap it over. They've got a spare sitting there waiting. Oh yeah, you can see the moisture on that ball. And it's difficult in humid environments like this for a ball not to be a little bit slippery. Zaki now with the ball, big spin move by Damashwa, almost took himself off his own feet. All inside to Jim Rabe, and he tries to find a quick pass to Maxime Zainvini, but a little bit too much on that one and he couldn't hold on to it. So it's going to be a turnover and Rwanda will take control. Always good to see players enjoying it when they're on international duty, as much as there's pride in the nation's, you know, future basketball history in their hands. It's important that they enjoy representing their countries, and it looks like the Rwandans certainly do that. Nice pass inside, and disappointing that Shiyaka couldn't make that easy too. Here comes Damashwa. Now into Jim Rabe inside. Fades away and just over the outstretched hand of Wabigwai. but he manages to float it over for the 2, and that's enough to give the Central Africans a 2-point lead. And Design now from way out. Gets fouled by Kaguya. He'll go to the line for 3 shots now. It's a bad foul, as much as he's saying he didn't do it. Be interesting to see the replay. Let's see how far he comes forward. Yeah, easy calls for the officials. Always interesting when players claim their innocence in such guilty situations. 4th foul for Kugera, and he's been an important part of the Central African Republic team this evening. He's brought a lot of hustle, a lot of energy, and him at the bench is not what they need. 4 fouls, and there's still 11.5 minutes of action left here in Lagos in this game. Ondizé is buys his trade in the Rwandan top division for the Patriots. Had a big game against Côte d'Ivoire yesterday. Scored 13 points against them. He's 82% from behind the line before today's game, and he makes all 3 of his 3 throws, and that's a huge contribution as Rwanda take the lead once again. Yannick Zaki now throws it away, and it's picked up by Ndizai, and nice big play by Rwabigwai, and he's everywhere in this game. He's really shown up to play. Jim Rabi wants to go to work against him though, backing his way in, and Jim Rabi falls to the floor to try and hold on to the loose ball, and it's just a scrap on the floor. And the foul is going to be called. That one's going to be called on Rwabigwai. And the young man needs to know sometimes when you get a veteran big that just wants to drop his shoulder into you when he posts up like Jim Rabi did there, you just stand your ground and eventually he's going to charge through you. Looks like Ndizai has got a little bit of a knock to the face. Looks a little bit stunned, but it's going to be a sideline ball for the Central Africans. Rwanda holding a 3-point lead now with a little under a minute to go in this 3rd quarter. Finely balanced affair here. Nice float inside. Jim Rabi is rejected. He's still going to stay in the hands of the Central Africans. Nice pass from Damashwe here, wraps it round the corner. And Rwabigwai is going to be credited with that block. And turnover now, as Rwanda will get the ball. 42.3 left in the 3rd quarter. They're up by 3. We're reasonably happy with that. As Damashwe just goes out of bounds with the ball. Mugabe now wide open inside. If he'd held on to the handle, they'd have had another 2 easy points. Shayaka instead with the ball now. Hands it off to Mugabe. Mugabe trying to shake. Rwabigwai with the ball at the top. Shot clock down to 3. Shoots the 3. He's going to come up short with that one, and that's going to spark Central African fast break, but the Rwandans retreat quickly enough to block the transition. And Damashwe now has the ball. Pulls up for a long 2. And that one's not going to go, and Jim Rabi is going to get called for the foul. I think that might be his 4th. We'll have to wait to see. And Rwabigwai is absolutely everywhere for Rwanda today. Oh yeah, gets an elbow across the face. It's not exactly the smallest of elbows from Jim Rabi. And 2 seconds left on the quarter clock. As you see the Senegalese players in the corner at the moment. They're waiting for their game, which will be shortly after this one. They'll take on Nigeria, knowing if they get a win, they've qualified for the World Cup finals. And that will be all she wrote for the end of the third quarter here in Lagos. And Coach Bosniak will be pretty happy. Rwanda sit with 10 minutes to go. They lead this one 44-41 over the Central African Republic. They're in prime position, but 10 minutes to go, plenty to play for, so much still ahead of us here at the National Stadium in Lagos. But Rwanda lead this one 44-41. Make sure you join me for all the final quarter action. Welcome back to the National Stadium here in Lagos, Nigeria, as we have 10 more minutes of the World Cup qualifier between Rwanda and the Central African Republic. Rwanda lead this one by 3, 44-41. A Rwandan strong third quarter. They're outscoring the Central African Republic 17-14. They seem to be on the up, and that man there is one of the big reasons. Rwabigwai has had the international game of his life so far. 12 points and 3 rebounds, 5 from 9. 15.5 minutes on the floor. He really has come to play, and the young man looks to have a bright future in the blue and yellow of Rwanda. We've still got 10 more minutes to play here in Lagos, and there's plenty of talent within the Central African Republic roster. They do have foul troubles though. Jimrabe has 3 fouls, we can confirm, and Kugere has 4 fouls. So they're the 2 players in foul trouble for the Central African Republic, and no foul trouble whatsoever for Rwanda. Let's see how these final 10 minutes play out here at the National Stadium. This qualifier part of Group F of the African region. 5 spaces up for grabs for the African countries at the FIBA World Cup finals in China in a little under a year's time, and that's why it means so much for all of these players. And here we go, the final 10 minutes of qualifying action in this window for both these teams. Rwanda lead this one 44-41. And the Central African Republic will get us underway. Kugere now with the ball. Hands it off to Sanji. To Zayn Vini. Goes inside to Jefferson. Jefferson's going to try and back his way to the basket and just barrels inside for the 2. He's yet to show his quality so far this evening. Only up to 5 points. Does have 6 rebounds though, so he's done a job on the boards. Ndazai there with the ball at the top, looking to find a lane inside, floats high off the glass, and that Jefferson layup is quickly cancelled out by Ndazai. Damashware now, pulling the strings for the Central African Republic. With Kasanji. Kasanji pulls up for a mid-range 2 in the short corner, can't get that to go, and Rwabigwai almost got carried away and thought he was a point guard, but quickly hands it off to Mugabe. On a double screen on the high. And get Gasana open. Shot clock down to 7. Rwabigwai. But Gasana will shoot the 3, but it's an air ball. And even if they did manage to rescue it, the shot clock would have run out. He really has had a night to forget on the offensive end. Kenny Gasana, only 1 point to his name. He's averaging 15 points a game in this qualifier. He's been completely neutralised by the Central Africans. He's just fortunate that his teammates have picked up the slack. The likes of Shayaka on 10 and Rwabigwai on 12. Damashwa now in the corner. Looks to pass it inside, and it goes across to the far side to Kugera. Can't get it to go. Jefferson almost with the rebound, but it's stripped away from him. Quick to Kasana. Nice long pass, and one! And Desai with the big play against Zion Vini. Beautiful vision by Kasana. Saw his man out at the races, and he finds him perfectly with a bounce pass. Gets the 2 off the glass, and he'll get the trip to the line as well. He's up to 7 points now. He's back at the line. He's a dead eye from the line as well. Gets the extra 1. And now we're up to a 6-point lead for Rwanda. Kasanji now looking to find some kind of seam or gap in the defense. Kugera fakes the 3, gets past him to Zai, goes to the corner. Kasanji hits the 3. He couldn't have timed that jumper any better if he tried. Absolutely what the Central African Republic needed. Mugabe now almost leaves the ball behind, but the lane opens up for him. Nigasana. Oh, nice pass inside, but it's going to be a travelling violation. Got his feet caught up underneath him. Central Africans will take that one back. It's going to be a baseline ball for them. Only a 3-point lead for Rwanda now. Damashwa trying to find a lane and does. Oh, beautiful play. Destin Damashwa, veteran guard, gets himself to the basket. Oh, steal now. Kasanji out of the races, gets the 2. And how quickly it's changed from a 6-point lead for Rwanda. We're now in a situation where the Central African Republic have a 1-point lead. And they've got another steal. They are flying high right now off the back of that man, Damashwa and Kasanji. Timeout called by Coach Bosniak. I don't think he can believe how quickly things have turned around. I wouldn't imagine you're going to see a Coach Bosniak in the timeout huddle. Great quick hands by Kasanji and a nice strong play as he goes to the basket for 2. And that's how quickly the game can change. Rwanda are in control, and before you know it, the Central African Republic have just wrestled that control back away from them. Let's jump into the huddle.
Let's go 1 position, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. So we have to spread, Gaston, spread a little bit. Then we have, after that, everything, whatever we need, we can go back to our man-to-man. But let's go 1, 2, 2. Also, let us try to do in offense. Gaston, let's say you immediately, Olivier, get the ball from Kenny here. So you dribble here, Kenny, you go around, and we come after that immediately Kigali. Let's go Kigali immediately.
We have to do a foul. Can we make at least foul?
Very nice and calm in the timeouts, and as I've been saying, that young man is really proving himself here this evening. But he's going to have to do a little bit more because the Central African Republic have surged back into this one after trailing by 6 just a couple of moments ago. They are now up by 1. And the Central Africans will have possession. They're going to make the change as Kaye comes in for Rabig White. And Demeshware has been the architect of the demise of that lead, and he's now in control of the ball. Rwanda sitting in a zone defense. It's going to offer up perimeter shooting. It offers up a long two to Demeshwe. Can't get it to go. The rebound battle under the basket is going to be won by Rwanda, and it's getting a little bit tasty in the paint now. And Desai, the ball at the top. Gives it off to Gasana. Gasana to Ndazai. Comes back to Nkurunziza. Nkurunziza is fouled on his way to the basket by Grabongo. It's only the first team foul of the quarter for the Central African Republic. Passes it there, and it's the dribble in Grabongo's court with all his body weight moving forward. Here comes Shiaka. No joy, and it's tapped back by Kaye. Shiaka will pick it up. Nkurunziza now drives the baseline, reverse layup, easy layups missed. And it's moments like that that cost you so dearly. Behind the back pass, and an absolutely silly time to be showboating by Jondre Jefferson. I'm sure he's going to hear it from the coaching staff for that pass. Absolutely unnecessary, and the big man has no ability to do it by the looks of that. Gammon out with the ball, floats inside. Tough move with the big two-handed putback, Eli Kaye! What a follow-up with that. Kugera now shoots the long three. Jefferson picks up the rebound, and Central Africans will slow it down, but Rwanda retake the lead. Demeshwe now, a little hesitation, floats inside, easy two off the glass. They've got to shut those lanes down, Rwanda. It's so easy for Demeshwe now just to float into the paint. He's up to 12 points personal. Sagamba now with the ball. Kaye at the top, feeds the low post. Shiaka now looking to go to work. Fades away, nice little pull-up jumper, and Shiaka gets another two. He's up to 12 points personal. And one! It seems like the sleeping giant that has been this game has suddenly awoken, as both teams are pulling out all the stops and the big plays in the closing few minutes. They've been holding out on us. Kaye now called for the foul. That's Bosniak's reaction. Exceptionally frustrated. He now will have to just stand and watch as Max Kagea will go to the line for the bonus shot. Gasana will leave the court for Rwanda, I think, by the looks of it. Manzi will come in. And some of the highlights, and Sagamba now puts it up, but it's not him that scores. It's a big putback from Kaye, and Kagea now gets the extra point, and the Central African Republic are out to a 2-point lead, and he goes up to double digits personal, 6 from 7 from the line. That's some clutch shooting right there. Sagamba now back into the hands of Manzi. Kaye in the low post against Jefferson, has it knocked away, and Kagea now out at the races. And he's fouled once again. If he knows how to do anything, it's to draw the foul. Just such a direct way to the basket. There's nothing else on his mind. He's not going to pass it. He's not going to go and fade away. He's just going to drive as hard as he can towards the basket and draw the foul. And a timeout has been called here, as the coaching staff take some time to make some changes. Rwanda are the team that have called the timeout, and we're going to jump into hopefully both of the huddles to hear what the coaching staff have to say to their teams. I'm afraid it looks like we might not be able to listen to the coaching staff, so we'll have the joy of watching some of the highlights, and certainly won't grow tired of watching highlights from that young man. Eli Kaye, 23-year-old big man. Had a big game against Uganda, double-double, 16 points, 11 rebounds back in June, and has performed well throughout this qualification process, averaging 9.9 points, 7.1 rebounds. Very, very impressive performance from him. And an interesting 1-2 combination for the future of Rwandan basketball in the paint is Eli Kaye and Jean-Paul Rwabigwai. They're both 23 years old, so they could have another 10, maybe 15 years in them. Imagine the impact that 1-2 punch would play on opposing teams in Africa. Just clearing some sweat off the floor, making sure it's not slippery for the players. And you can hear by the noise in the arena, it's starting to fill up a little bit more as the home team Nigeria are set to play after this game here. Nigeria secured their passage to the World Cup finals yesterday. And I imagine there'll be a bit of a party atmosphere in the arena when they take on Senegal later today. But before that is the just a little matter of the game that we have here between Rwanda and the Central African Republic, and with that extra free throw, the Central African Republic lead is out to 4 points now. A little over 4 minutes to play. As always with this game, it's in the balance, and Sagamba with a poor pass. He really has had a poor night at the office, Sagamba. He's made plenty of mistakes. Only 5 points to his name, only 1 assist in 14 minutes of being the lead point guard on floor. Sanji now at the top. Calls for the Horns offense. Jefferson sets a screen and flashes to the basket, comes back. Grabonga for 3. Not enough on that one, and Ravigwai grabs the rebound. That's his 6th rebound of the game. Manzi now looking to back his way. Nice little spin move, left hand hook, nothing there. Jefferson grabs the rebound for the Central African Republic. Ndamashwa has the ball, floats inside, hands it off to Kasanji. He can't get it to go. Grabonga can't hold on to it and steps out of bounds, so it'll be a Rwandan ball on the baseline. Almost took the cameraman out. Thought he was going to dive for cover behind the advertising board then. Sagamba comes back to Manzi at the top. To Ndaze. Ndaze now with the ball, looking for space, finds space for the jumper and hits the jumper. He really is a dead-eye from that mid to long range. He's up to double digits now. Gregari now to Grabonga, to Damashware. And the Central Africans are happy to slow it down. Call for the Horns offense again. Jefferson flashes to the basket. Grabonga sees it open up in front of him. Can't get it to go, and the rebound's pulled down by Dan Manzi. And Rwanda have a chance to tie the game up, if not take the lead now. Rabigwai is fouled by Jefferson as he receives the ball in the post. It'll be a baseline ball as Gasana comes back into the game for Rwanda. He inbounds it long. Back. Oh my goodness! Has he got everything in the locker? The smile from Jefferson doesn't tell the story there. Rwabigwai goes strong to the basket, draws the contact. What composure from the big man. He's showing he's got some handle as well as everything else. That is one big locker full of tricks that young man has got. And Jondre Jefferson can only smile. I'm not sure his coaching staff will be too happy that he's smiling. That too ties the game and sends Rwanda to the line for potentially the leading score. He's up to 14 points now, 5 boards. More importantly, his plus minus is 5, so it shows that he's an important factor. Let's listen to the huddles.
Ok, là, Dim, tu vas aller à la place de Johan. Peut-être le ballon arrive à l'intérieur. On va essayer de poster à l'intérieur. Circuler la balle, jouer le temps, les gars. Ils sont paumés. On va rapidement. S'ils sont en défense, on pose, on tourne et on attaque les intervalles.
Kigali is giving us some chances. So, Cash can get the ball here or Adonis. And Cash can get the ball here and immediately go to this side. Okay, so we have this kind of things. Kigali or Bucks.
Let's go hard.
Rwanda back at the line now for the extra one. Can't connect, so we stay tied as the clock ticks down to just about 2 minutes remaining in this game, unless we go to overtime. Sanji now back to Jim Rabe. Jim Rabe to the basket. In and out. Jefferson with a big rebound, just rips it down. He's fouled out. One for Jondre Jefferson. He returns the favour. He was the villain at the other end a moment ago, but he's certainly the hero for the Central Africans at this end now. Such a strong upper body. Look at him extend his arms, that wingspan enables him to grab hold of the rebound. He'll go to the line for the extra one. Not a great free throw shooter though, only 45% from the line. And he is one of their better rebounders, and he won't be able to rebound his own miss. The Central African Republic take a 2-point lead. 1:53 left on the game clock. And he connects with the extra one. 3-point lead now. Jefferson up to 8 points personal. You just wonder how many more twists and turns this game has in it. It really has been an intriguing encounter. Wabigwai now goes inside, has it stripped away. Jim Rabe outlets it to Kasanji. He can't hold on to it, steps out of bounds. And a get out of jail free card there for Rwanda. That could have been a 5-point lead, but it turns out that they'll get the ball back. 1:34 left on the game clock. So tightly balanced, and such an important game for both of these teams. Just remember the stakes. Rwanda, they've never been to a World Cup finals before. Central African Republic haven't been there since the early 70s. Both of these teams were so desperate to make it to that big final stage in China in a little under a year's time. And a win here tonight is a big step in the right direction for that, and a loss takes away an awful lot of the hope that they have of making it. Gasana now with the ball for Rwanda. Gabang sets the screen and flashes to the basket. Rabigwai now with the ball at the top, fakes the jumper, floats inside, draws the foul. Jim Rabe's 4th foul. Rabigwai really has taken the team on his shoulders a little bit in this game. 60% from the field, 14 points, 5 boards. 4th foul on Jim Rabe. Jim Rabe is an important part of what Central African Republic do. He's had limited minutes tonight because of foul trouble. He's only played under 20 minutes. The first is good from the line. And the second. That's going to bring it down to just a 1-point lead now for the Central Africans. More sweat on the floor that needs mopping up. Just waiting to see what the call is on the floor. Yeah, Kabang has been called for the foul on Jimrabe, which is going to send Jimrabe to the line. No, it's not. It's only just put them into the bonus. So it's just going to be a baseline ball for the Central African Republic. 1 point lead. A little over a minute to play. It couldn't be more finely balanced than this. Jefferson now hands it off. Kugea with the ball for three. Can't get it to go. The rebounding battle is ferocious and easy coolers. Rawabigwai just shoves Jimrabe in the back. Sends him to the line for 2 shots. That's his 3rd personal foul. Jimrabe's first trip to the free throw line this evening. And what a big trip this is. Wow, what a time to have your first free throws of the game. 56 seconds to go in a must-win World Cup qualifier, and you're up by a point. The pressure doesn't get much bigger than this. He's broad-shouldered. I have a feeling he'll be able to take the strain. First one is good. %62% from the line so far before this game in the qualifiers. And hits the second, and that's an important one. Out to a 3-point lead now. He's up to double-digit scoring personally. Sagamba now hands it off to Gasana. Gasana with the ball against Jefferson. Looks to flash the baseline, and Sagamba only just about keeps it in. Shot clock down to 4. They're going to have to do something with it soon. Shiaka to Gasana for a long 3. Comes up short. Central African Republic get the rebound, and there's about 7 differential shot clock, lane clock. Rwanda need to apply some pressure. They don't need to foul, but they did need to apply some pressure. Damashwara is fouled. He'll go to the line for 2 shots. He could potentially ice the game here. Damashwara only shooting 67% from the line before this game. It's his first trip to the free throw line as well, and my goodness me, they have ice running through their veins. These Central Africans step up in pressure situations and just connect. 4-point lead, 2 possessions, that's the key. 5-point lead, there's no real difference. I know it sounds crazy between a 4-point lead and a 5-point lead. 24.3 seconds to go, and it's a 2-possession game. The Rwandans are going to have to score twice to come away with the win. And at the moment, you'd have to say that the Central African Republic are high favourites, are in the driving seat. As long as they play some lockout defence, don't suit anything silly like foul or shooter, they'll be good to go. Let's jump into the huddle here.
Adonis. Who else? Who is playing for? Can you go for screen here? You come in the middle. Make a nice screen here. Olivier, now choke. Choke posting guard. Can I drop one? Can I drop one?
Look at if he scores.
And this is what we live for within basketball. This is why we love the support, and this is why we have loved this new look World Cup qualification process. It's thrown up so many games like this where it's gone down to the wire. Nation's pride on the line. The hopes and dreams of those teams hanging in the balance. 24.3 seconds to play. 59 to Rwanda, 64 to the Central African Republic. Still plenty of time for Rwanda to get back into this, but every single detail will now count. Rwanda need to score. They want to score fast. Doesn't matter if it's a 2 or a 3. They want to score and score fast. Kabang now goes inside, pulls up for the long 2. Way off target. Kabang took it on his own shoulders, and maybe wasn't the right man to do so. This really does put Rwanda on the back foot now. Another timeout's going to be called, I think. Yeah, this time by the Central African Republic. They want to make sure that they talk things over, make sure they get it right. They really do only need to hold on to the ball and see the 24 seconds out. They're going to get fouled straight away, so they want to put the ball into the hands of someone who shoots free throws well, and I imagine that's what they're working on now. They'll run an offense or an inbounds play that opens up a good free throw shooter, such as Damashwa or Jimrabe. They seem to be happy to take the pressure. Let's jump into their huddle. And that timeout has advanced the ball as well. Smart move by the coaching staff and Coach Marida. And this is going to be their inbound players. They look to open up a good free throw shooter and straight into the hands of Damashwa, and the foul is there. That will send Damashwa to the line for 2 shots. The patched up Damashwa with the bandage over his eye. Definitely looks like he's been in a battle tonight, and that's one thing for sure, that no one's going to have walked away with the easy win here. They're going to have been made to work exceptionally hard to claim this Group F win. At the moment it looks like it's going to be the Central Africans who will be celebrating, and the Rwandans will be commiserating, as they've gone, by the looks of it, they'll have gone 3 games in this window without a win and really dented their chances of making it to the finals. He hits both. Out to a 7-point lead now, and Damashwa hits the deck. Sagamba now inside, and they're taking way too long. For a big white, goes inside. Gasana misses the layup. He'll get another chance, so he gets the layup, but only 4.5 seconds left. That's going to be the end of the game. The only thing they want to do is hold out for the points difference. They don't want to foul. Just let the clock run out. That's an absolutely silly foul to make. They could have had a points difference situation on their hands on the return leg in February. And if they'd won it by 8, they might have won the head-to-head with them. But instead, they're going to offer them more points now. And that was a crazy move by Kami Kabang. But he's made it. And with 1 second left, Damashwa's going to go to the line for 2 shots. Connects with the first of his 2, and he's up to an impressive 17 points. He really has been the general on the floor for them this evening. Everything that's gone through his hands has been controlled, and he's the reason, one of the main reasons why they've got the win tonight. And that's the final buzzer here at the National Stadium in Lagos. And the Central African Republic will be very happy with their work here. They've won this one 68-61 over Rwanda in what has been a back and forth affair. The opening quarter was reasonably close with the Central African Republic, but winning it by 3. Rwanda returned the favour in a low-scoring second quarter, so we went to the half-time locker room tied up at 27 apiece. And in the third quarter, the Central African Republic pulled out a 3-point lead. Sorry, Rwanda pulled out a 3-point lead. But in that final quarter, the offensive power of the Central African Republic finally turned up, and they outscored them by 10, ultimately winning this one by 7. There's your shooting percentages. Not a great night from the perimeter for either team. Amazing night from the free throw line for the Central African Republic. They also won the rebounding battle, 12 offensive rebounds for them. That will have helped their cause. Turnovers too high for both teams. Silly mistakes, but usually symptomatic of a high pressure situation such as the game they've had here this evening. Here are your game leaders. Damashwa, 18 points. 10 rebounds for Jefferson for Rwanda. The big white with the game high for them. He's got 16 points. And Gabang with 4 steals. Plenty of positives for both teams. It also does really put Rwanda perilously close to being knocked out. Damashwa with 18 points, Kriya 12, Jimrabi with 10, Rawai with 16, Shayaka with 12, and Undize with 10 are your leading scorers. And here are some of the highlights from today's game for you. And remember, this is the last game for both of these two in this qualification window, and how that has moved around the table. The standings as they are at the moment is Nigeria are qualified. They have made it to the World Cup finals. They currently sit in an 8-0 position. Senegal are second. They have 7 wins and 1 loss. Currently sitting in third are the Central African Republic. They have 4 wins, 5 losses. Then in fourth is Cote d'Ivoire. They have 4 wins, 5 losses. Then in fifth, it is Rwanda, who have 3 wins, 6 losses. And then in sixth, it's Mali with 3 wins and 6 losses. Both Mali and Rwanda are perilously close to being knocked out. They'll have to look to try and win all 3 of their games in the final qualification window in February. And outside of that, you'd look like it's going to be a straight shootout between the Central African Republic and Cote d'Ivoire for that 3rd place spot if everything goes to plan. In February, we are in for a roller coaster ride yet again here in Group F. As you're seeing some of the highlight plays, and there were quite a few nice highlight plays from this game here at the National Stadium in Lagos. But ultimately, the one thing that counts is the score. And our final score here in Lagos is Rwanda 61, the Central African Republic 68. Thanks for joining me here at the National Stadium in Lagos. I hope you've enjoyed the amazing international basketball that we've had for you, and there'll be plenty more to come in the coming months. If you want to stay in touch with all of the World Cup basketball, make sure you download the app. The official FIBA World Cup app is available on Android and iOS, and you'll see all these highlight videos plus much, much more. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again soon.